When you watch a domino artist set up one of those massive displays, the separate zones, they look like beautifully contained right up until that one bridge piece
Yeah,
falls.
and then it's just chaos.
Exactly.
Hmm?
So welcome to today's daily audio briefing of the Curated News, curated by Sandeep Ohri for Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. Our mission here is delivering a concise, impartial, and sequential briefing of today's global affairs and economic shifts.
And today we are really looking at how these global dominoes are crashing into each other, from supply lines to huge corporate shifts.
Let's get right into those supply lines, starting with geopolitics. So the Wall Street Journal reports that Ukrainian drones hit Russia-Iran military supply lines right in the Caspian Sea.
Wow. In the Caspian Sea.
Right. I always thought of the Caspian Sea as this relatively, isolated inland waterway. Hearing that drones reached it, it just completely breaks my mental map of this conflict. How fragile are these regional boundaries in modern conflicts, really?
Well, they're incredibly fragile now. Supply chains are the lifeblood of warfare. So by striking a shared conduit, you're forcibly merging two separate geopolitical tensions.
Which is exactly what Sandeep notes. He says that if not unwound, the Russia-Ukraine and Iran-US wars could intertwine very quickly.
Yeah, because the physical borders stay the same, but the strategic boundaries just blur instantly.
And that blurring of boundaries, it's happening demographically, too. The Wall Street Journal is highlighting this stark contrast today. So in India, the youth are moving to cities for better futures, while U.S. children under 18 are actually moving out of bigger cities.
It's fascinating, right? You're seeing two totally different economic engines at work.
Yeah, why the split?
Well, in developing markets, that rapid urbanization is driven by, people chasing emerging industries. But the U.S. is reacting to this post-pandemic reality where remote work just lets families prioritize space over a downtown address.
Right, that search for economic stability. Which actually brings us to some pretty tough corporate news. The Wall Street Journal reports Germany's Porsche is cutting another 5,000 jobs.
Ouch. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that's on top of the 3,900 union-agreed cuts from last year.
When a luxury brand trims the fat that aggressively, they're preparing for a long winter. It's a structural adjustment to offset rising supply chain costs and that incredibly expensive pivot to EVs.
And it's not just physical manufacturing either. The Financial Express notes Visa is cutting 2,600 tech jobs. MasterCard announced a 4% workforce reduction, and Block stated back in February it would just have its 4,000-strong workforce.
Have it? Wow. This is a massive industry-wide pivot. These fintech companies scaled so aggressively during the digital boom.
And now they're scaling back.
Exactly. They are right-sizing. Shifting capital from, traditional tech roles toward new infrastructure, prioritizing sheer efficiency.
Well, from saving money to massive payouts. The Financial Express reports Johnson & Johnson's $5.5 billion settlement over these 15-year lawsuits, claiming their talc products caused ovarian cancer.
$5.5 billion. That is massive.
It really is. It feels like a financial dam has finally broken, after 15 years of just mounting pressure.
That's a good way to put it, because setting that settlement means the company finally knows exactly how much water they have to clean up. They can quantify the risk and finally move on.
Speaking of financial leaks, there's a flood of a totally different kind in Indian finance. The Financial Express highlights a sharp spike in fake GST input tax credits, reaching 74,782 crore rupees in FY26.
Jeez.
Yeah, for anyone unfamiliar, an input tax credit is basically a refund for taxes a business already paid on raw materials. Scammers are just creating fake receipts to claim refunds on phantom purchases.
It really highlights a brutal reality, right?
Yeah.
As digital tax infrastructures get more efficient, the fraud gets more sophisticated. It's just a constant game of whack-a-mole for regulators.
For sure. But, legitimate digital scale is still booming. June telecom data from the Financial Express shows Jio hitting a massive 503.5 million total subscribers.
500 million. That's incredible.
Yep. With Airtel leading net additions at 2.99 million.
Holding 500 million subscribers requires entirely different strategic muscles than capturing those last pockets of new growth. It's a fiercely competitive market.
Speaking of growth, looking at the macroeconomy, the Financial Express reports India's industrial output, or IIP, rose 7.3% year over year in June.
Oh, wow. That's a solid jump.
Yeah, it marks a 23-month high.
Hitting a nearly 2-year high means manufacturing is genuinely accelerating. not just recovering. That's a great foundation for broader expansion.
Let's pivot to the global stage real quick. Commonwealth Games Glasgow 2026 update. Australia leads with 35 gold, followed by Canada with 13 and England with 10. India dropped to ninth position with 2 gold and 12 total medals.
Well, Australia's lead isn't an accident. It's the result of highly targeted funding and investments in specific sports. It actively reshapes that global leaderboard.
So we've talked a lot about modern digital finance and global speed, but here's a wild historical curiosity from the Deccan Herald.
Oh, I love these. What is it?
A collector has actually authenticated a May 17, 1794 check issued by India's Governor-General Warren Hastings to Joshua Patrick.
Think about that contrast for a second. We just talked about billions in digital settlements, and this single piece of paper is just this tangible anchor to the incredibly slow machinery of the 18th century.
And wrapping it up for another Wednesday morning is this piece of news. The Wall Street Journal reported on the app Spread, helping folks find partners. Well, Sandeep suggests entrepreneurs could actually use it to find co-founders or employees. However, Sandeep cautions that identifying partners is only part one, because making the relationship work is the real challenge, and getting that second part wrong could be disastrous. Have a fab day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow morning.